When I was a child, I remember the very first video game console I got. My dad purchased me a Sega Genesis. I believe the first game I had was it was either Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter. And then I had Sonic the Hedgehog, the Streets of Rage. Streets of Rage might have been on there too. So I had that. And then eventually I got a Super Nintendo, then got a PlayStation, ended up with a Game Gear for Christmas, and then so on and so forth. You know, the Xboxes, the PlayStation 2s, the GameCubes. You get the picture. Man, what a time to be alive. And then another thing, I remember my dad took me to the arcade to show me X-Men versus Street Fighter. Man, I feel like my perception of fighting games changed that day whenever I first played X-Men versus Street Fighter. So that's a whole nother video. Man, the older I get, reality really hits when you're gaming as an adult. One thing about gaming as a child, man, you're not thinking about content. You're not thinking about, well, back in my era, you're not thinking about being gifted subs. You're not thinking about social media. You're just having fun. You're just playing the latest games. Back then, video games didn't have updates. Yeah, whatever game, however the game was, that's just what you got. You know, if the game was broken, you played the broken game, but you enjoyed it though. And nowadays, I feel like we're spoiled or whatever because, man, when a game isn't playing right, boy, you have access to go to those game developers and light those comments up. So for them to fix the game, which I feel like we are very entitled today as gamers and consumers. But as an adult, gaming feels like a job at times. Don't get me wrong. You know, you'll have your days where you actually sit down and play though, but it feels like a job at times, you know, but mainly just me or whatever, because, you know, being a content creator. First thing I want to talk about, man, is time versus passion. Man. How much time do you have to actually play games as an adult? 30 years old, you're 40 years old. Let's say you're late 20s and you actually have a career, you have a job. How much time do you really have to play video games? Like, do you actually work like a regular 10-hour shift and then come home and play video games? Or do you work the 10-hour shift and tend to your family? You gotta do chores. You have to, you know, you go work out at the gym, which those are things that should be important, you know, before video games. What is it, man? Is it you have the time? Do you have the passion to actually sit there and play video games after a certain age? I want to know. And the things, man, the work balance, you got bills, responsibilities, throw a kid into the equation. Oh man, that goes a quarter of your time right there once you have a child, because especially when you have like an infant, man, like those video game hours are cut because, like, man, if you have a baby that needs attention, you're probably, whenever it's time for the baby to go to sleep, 9 times out of 10 you're going to go to sleep with the baby too. So time versus passion is everything when it comes to video games. And then you gotta look at when you're playing a video game, like it shifts from playing for hours to, man, I'll get to it later. Ain't that crazy how life works? And do you have imposter syndrome whenever you're playing video games? Have you ever had that to where, like, sometimes you know that you're a responsible adult though, but like, have you ever felt guilty playing video games knowing that you have responsibilities to deal with? It's not that you're not taking care of your responsibilities, but have you ever felt guilty playing video games knowing you have a bunch of other things you got to do? Time versus passion, man. It's crazy how life works. And don't get me started on the cost of video games. Back in the day, man, I feel like we took video games for granted on how much they really cost. Like, don't get me wrong, video games were pretty costly back then though, but they wasn't as expensive as they are today. You see, today you have games that are $80. You got controllers that cost just as much as games or even more. You got gaming companies saying that a physical game is a code in a box. You have video games that downloadable, you have updates, you have to pay for sometimes you gotta pay for the content, DLC content. Like, man, I remember being able to buy a video game and it just played just perfectly fine. Now it seems like video games are being cranked out, you know, like candy. And like, if the game isn't fully fixed, we'll fix it with updates. But yeah, though, like the cost of gaming. I remember back then when a brand new controller was like $30, $40. Now a controller is like $70. I miss whenever video games were $40, $50 for a new game, $49.99. Shoot, I even miss whenever we used to be able to rent video games from the Blockbuster. Oh, what a time to be alive. Do you remember on a Friday night whenever you were able to go rent a game, you know, just to see if it was worth buying? And 9 times out of 10, you probably already beat the game within that time period though, but just have that option to go rent a video game, go up to your local Blockbuster, I'm showing my age, you know, and play the game, and then take it back in a timely manner so you don't get charged with late fees. I miss those times, man. I never thought we'd be in a world where a console would cost $700, where a handheld console would cost $1,000. Man, consoles used to cost $300, you know, and it came with a game and a control and possibly 2 controllers, depending on which set that you got. Cost of gaming was everything, man. And it's like, it seems like we're at a point right now where consumers are reaching a tipping point where it's like, you know what? I'm not going to buy that this time. I'm not falling for that this time, man. Mental health and gaming. What is your purpose of gaming, like as an adult? Like, do you video game because you're a content creator? Do you video game, aka be a gamer, because you're trying to escape reality? I often ask myself that sometimes though, man, because like, I don't remember the last time I actually sat down and played a game just because I wanted to have some fun. Well, I always have to hit the record button for some reason, just so I don't miss a chance to monetize, to go get some money. Seems like everything is money driven. So we go get all the best gear. We go get all the equipment, the streaming equipment, the microphones. I mean, even I'm talking to you guys on the microphone right now, you got to have a strong gaming laptop. Like, but, and then mentally, like, where are we at in a society when it comes to video games? Where are we? From back then, you know, you playing with your friends, you trash talk with your friends and stuff. That, to me, that probably was the most fun thing about video gaming, was the trash talk. You know, I remember when I first played Halo with my friends. I think it was like Halo 1 on Xbox 360. It probably was Xbox 360. Or was it on Xbox? Yeah, whichever the first Xbox that had Halo. We used to stay up for hours, and this is when Halo might have came out. Did it come out when I was in high school? I'm not sure. It might have been post high school, right after. I just remember that this either a teenager, which if you're 19, 20, whatever, you're still a teenager. It might have been 17. I don't know. But like I said, though, we playing Halo, we talking trash to each other, and just having a good time, all in the same room. When was the last time you actually played video games with your friends in the same front room? Now, if you have everybody has their own separate console and everybody has a headset playing the video game with each other online, now you can play against somebody across seas that you don't know, and they could just say whatever you want. They can talk about your mom, they can talk about your dog, they can talk about your granny. And then mentally, that could do a few things though, man. Make you lash out, make you throw threats and stuff, to a point to where that if you say the wrong thing, like on your mic, the console could possibly ban your account from even playing. Where are we at mentally as people playing video games, whether it be adult, teenager? So where do we draw the line when we're playing video games to escaping reality and just overindulging? You know, we know that we probably are spending too much time on the video game. It's time to put it down. Where's that balance? Where is that at? I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet. But one thing I will say though, man, gaming can be therapy. Let's keep it real. From you just got off a long day of work. You know, you don't have nothing to do. You're off for the weekend, which is rare. Most people work on the weekend. You just showered up, you order a pizza, and then, you know, you turn on the video game, right? It's therapy. You know, you got your pizza on the side, you got your drink, and you just turn on your console and then you play video games, right? Whether you're playing Call of Duty, Mario Kart, playing Tekken, Battlefield, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, you have time to yourself to escape the responsibilities of life. You'll get to that later. Yeah, video games can be therapy. It can be very therapeutic. And you're not really worried about the outside world though, man. That's the positive thing about video games. There's really not that many negative things about video games unless you're an adult just not taking care of your responsibilities, you know? Now, the big thing, the reality about gaming as an adult, we get told that if you're an adult, you shouldn't be playing video games unless you're making money from it, right? And here's the stressful thing about being an adult video gamer. Just because you're playing video games, online, doesn't mean you're going to make a lot of money from it. Like you may stream for hours, put together the perfect video and get 10 views. And anybody that knows how basically content monetization works on these social media platforms, that is pennies. How are you going to survive and take care of your family with 10 views on the video? So what you do? You spend more hours and hours and hours playing the video game that may not necessarily be your favorite video game because it's probably the popular one at the time. The video game that you want to play isn't that popular. So at this point now, video games have become a job because, you're trying to monetize. And that's the thing that they don't tell you about playing video game, whatever, or being a gamer or adult gamer, is you may have to play some video games that you may not want to play. Also, another reality that I face as a content creator and a gamer is I do more making videos talking about video games than actually playing the video game. Isn't that crazy? Think about it. I want you to think about it. If you're a content creator, do you play more video games, or do you actually have to make videos talking about the video game? Isn't it crazy how that works? I don't know, man. I think that's just funny. I find it funny, but in the day, it's still a blessing. If you can make money talking about video games, you can make money playing video games. You're dealing with algorithms, you're dealing with social media platforms, you got to deal with editing videos and stuff though, man. It's just crazy how the times that we're in right now, as far as making a living, making money, with video games. Because back in the day, I don't think that people could actually make money playing video games unless you were a gamer that went to tournaments and you won tournaments and you were really good. You might win 50,000 at a tournament. You had to know, because social media really wasn't a thing back then. But yeah, though, man, to all the adult gamers or whatever, whether you're 25, 20, 30, 40, 50 years old, to the Mario Kart players, the Tekken players, the Banjo-Kazooie players, the Tomb Raider players, the Call of Duty players, the Minecraft players. Is Warcraft a game? The Roblox players. If you playing those games though, man, just make sure that you set time aside to enjoy yourself. Don't take it so serious at times. It's okay to just play the video game and enjoy yourself. It's not the end of the world if you don't get all the views. It's not the end of the world if you put some things aside though. Make sure you take care of your responsibilities, but make sure if you're going to play a game as an adult, don't forget the purpose of the video game, which is to have fun and enjoy yourself. Having fun should not have an age limit. But I'm out. Take care of yourself.